Welcome to Inspirational Talks with Lathan Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hey everybody, it's international author Lathan Marie, and I'm here on Inspirational Talks with your host, yours truly. And so tonight will be a great show because guess what? I decided to do a Family Matters show because family does matter. And so on last week, I had my cousin on, Larita, who was an oceanographer. And so tonight I'm very honored because I'm going to have Landon and Lathan on the show. These are my boys. I talk about them, most of the time when I'm on shows or different interviews. And then they go with me. I try to take them as many places that I go around the world. And so I am so excited to have them on the show with me tonight. So, hey, I told them to, we're going to talk, we're going to be positive, and we're going to have fun. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in my boys, Landon and Lathan. All right, welcome to the show, boys. So how y'all doing?
All right.
Good.
Y'all doing good?
Yes.
All right. So tonight's show, I wanted to do a Family Matters because, and most of the time, like especially what we're going in with COVID-19, like right now, it's very important that we, show our love and express our love and be kind and be nice to those who are around us and even much our family because, a lot of people are going through, rough times right now. So I wanted to bring you all on the show so that I could just get your point of view. It's best to hear what you think about some things. And so I wanted to bring you so that you could, you can talk. So how do y'all feel about that?
Good.
All right. So let's just get into this thing. Okay, this is going to be impromptu listeners. I'm so used to having people read my book. So listeners, this is going to be impromptu, but I think that you're going to enjoy it all the same because I don't want to put words in my son's mouth. I want to hear what they have to say, what they think about what I'm doing, as an author because they see me going places and doing things and at book events and festivals, and I've taken them with me on this entire journey. I can remember back in 2011, 2010, Landon was about 2 years old, 1 year going on 2, and Lathan was still a baby in my stomach, and so I had started to write probably that June of 2010. I started to write, and so my first book, Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul, actually came out a month before Lathan was born. He was born in October the 15th, but the book came out in September. So I had a 2-year-old son, I had a baby in my stomach, and I had my first actual book baby. So Lathan, how do you feel to know that you had a book brother before you came into the world? You really don't know?
I don't know how it feels. I really didn't have feelings when I was a baby. I didn't know how it feels.
Okay.
I don't really remember what I was doing when I was a baby. But, yeah, I don't have no feelings when I was a baby. I probably did, but I just don't remember.
Okay. So I know, you all were pretty young, and you were actually a baby, so you probably wouldn't remember anything. I know Landon was about 2, so I don't know if you remember anything back then, but I know we came down to Mississippi 2011, and I had like my first actual book signing at the library, and you all were there. Lathan, you were crawling on the table. Landon, you were running around with your uncle and your granddad and your auntie Annette and my mom, and so we, you all started this with me. And like I said, you probably don't remember things in the beginning, but you started it with me. So tell me, who are some of your favorite authors?
The dog man, of course my mom, and those are my favorite 2 authors, right now.
Okay, so that's Landon speaking, you all, so you'll know the difference between their voices. So that was Landon just talking. Lathan, do you have any authors that you like?
I really like you. I really like you as an author. I really read a lot of books sometimes, but I don't keep track of the authors. I just read the title. I don't remember some of the titles, but I like Dogman, like my brother. I read it a lot. I got like 5 books. But
Okay.
yeah, I like Dogman with Mom.
All right, so they like Dogman. They like their mom. I remember back in the day, I used to buy Lathan like Pete the Cat books. Those were the books that I actually got one of the ideas to branch off and do Larry the Alligator Makes Friends, and I'll talk about that a little later in the show because I actually got a chance to meet the authors, the writers of that book when I lived in Georgia, and we would always go to the Georgia Book Festival. So, Landon, tell me, how do you feel that when you look in each one of the books and you see your name in the book?
I just feel like I have a chance of doing something in life, and that it's actually really cool of having your own name is in a book, and then when people read it, they actually can see that you're in a book and that your mom has wrote about you and stuff.
Okay, all right, Lathan.
If my name was in the book, I would be very proud that somebody that put my name in the book, I would appreciate them because they took their effort of writing a book about me or putting my name in it. I would appreciate them, but I would be really happy that they put my name in, and a lot of people can write about it. But that's it. Okay.
So basically, the reason why I put that in there because first of all, I'm proud of my children, and secondly, I want to show them the legacy of it so that as they get older and when they get older, they will have something, to look forward to. They'll have something that they can show their friends, the legacy of what I'm building now, even when they're younger. Books last forever. Like I have my favorite authors out there are like Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni and Langston Hughes and different people who have written books that you can go to a library and find their books, or you can go to any place online and actually see their books. So right about now, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back after this commercial break. Hey everybody, and it is LaDonna Marie, host of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie. So you all just witnessed first time ever my boys being on the show with me, and it was so interesting to actually hear what they had to say, and to know how they feel, because the most important thing as a mother for me in the beginning of doing this author thing and becoming an author was to always let them know that they're just as important, and that they are a part of my author life as well as my children. So that's the reason why I topicked this one today, Family Matters. And so I just wanted to bring you my boys so you can get a chance to hear them, because I want them to be as engulfed in this world as I am. So we were talking before the break, we were talking about legacy. And so building the legacy I want them to see as an author, as author LaDonna Marie, of me impacting lives, me empowering other people, encouraging others throughout my book so that they can have a role model, to not always do everything that I do, but have some traits, have some virtues of some of the things that I do, as well as empowering people and, always pouring good things into people throughout my books and throughout my nonprofit, because they're even, with me at my nonprofit when I have conferences, and, every conference that I've had since the beginning of time in 2013, my boys have been there. So I want them to be in the culture of helping people, in the mindset that knowing that you matter and other people matter as well. And so that's the legacy that I want to leave and continue to leave, throughout my lifespan, and with Lathan and Landon being with me always. So I'm just going to go, through a couple of things that, building up on the legacy of, family matters. So being a mom, and being an author, this is something that God had decided for me to do. And, I had been wanting to be a writer even before I knew, that I was going to have kids. I started this journey at 14 years old. And so, then I was thinking about impacting lives and impacting other people. And so when my children came along, it was just like when I started, like I said earlier in the show, Landon was about 2. Lathan was still like a baby. And I was embarking on a journey in which I was going to change people's lives by getting a book to them so that they could get the healing, the encouragement, the enrichment that they needed. And so first, being a mom and deciding to become an author, I had to have like a balance in my life. I had to be able to be balanced. And so, when the boys were younger, I had, schedules to where I knew that, we would do the things that we would do out throughout the day if they had to go to, kindergarten or daycare. And then I would go to work because I've always been a working mom and a working woman. And I would go to work. And then after that, you spend time with the kids, laugh, play, eat. And then I would put them to bed. And then the author hat would then begin to come, or sometimes through the day, whenever I had a little break, I would begin to write. And so I had to find myself, having a balance. So if you're out there and you're starting this career and, you're wanting to have it all and you're wanting to do the best that you can in everything that you do have to have some balance, because I felt like if I didn't have a schedule, or if I didn't have just my bullet points, written out about the things that I wanted to accomplish and the things that I, that I was aiming towards, and also, plugging in some time to go to the movies or to go outside or to teach my kids how to ride their bikes. And so it was things I had to incorporate, being a mom and being an author. Like it wasn't separate. To me, in my mindset, it was always together, because I would take them places. Like I remember the first time that, and we'll get to that, but I just wanted to say, because I was like, I'm finna go off into that, but we'll get to that. So I just want to let you know that make sure that you have balance in your life, because families do matter, and making sure that is how you make them feel, because that's the one thing that I love, that they have a good positive attitude about it. And even when I ask for their help, they say yes. Today's show wasn't as long. Wasn't as, I didn't have them on as long because, of course, they're kids. And this is like a 30-minute show. But I love them for the input that they gave, because I know that they're watching, and I know that they're looking. And I know that, and I never try to hide things from them. So if I, even at a young age, if I had an interview, or if I had to go somewhere, I would always communicate that with my children. So that was just part of helping them to see my life and be a part of my life as well. Another important factor for my life, being an evangelist now, but always loving the Lord, is always keeping God first, because God was initially the one that heightened my idea and the mindset and the inspiration for me to become an author, because of what he had put inside of me to give to the world. And so being an author and putting God first, because I decided to put what he wanted, what he desired to be placed inside of these books. And so I always hashtag God first, because essentially it is his gift that he gave to me. But what I do with the gift is how I give it back. And so I put God first, and I've always put God first in these books. And I tell people around the world when I meet them, because they're like, oh, LaDonna, you have, all of these books, and how do you stay motivated, and how do you, stay focus, and I tell them it's because I am doing this unto God. It is His will, His way. It's what He desires for me to do as the writer that He has called me to be. So I'm disciplined even when I'm not motivated. Because yes, I love to motivate people, but you also have to be disciplined even when you're not motivated. So over the years, when I was tired and I came home from working a full 8 to 5 schedule, working with the kids, doing what needed to be done in my household, and then staying up to write. Some nights I would be up to 2, just basking in the glow of silence and allowing the Lord to download whatever He wanted in me. So it took me always putting God first and His desire so that I may be yielded to write what He asked me to write, so that the books they will have what He desires for that person that's going to pick it up, what He desires for them to know, what He desires for them to have. And so I've always put God first. I say it's for His glory. It's to God be the glory, because He says that I will not give my glory to another. And so I don't want to take any glory. And I know that I'm a vessel. I wrote a poem a long time ago when He was asking me to kind of do the spoken word part, because I'm a poet. I love to write. I never really wanted to do spoken word poetry because I'm a reader. I read my poems. And so I have been writing since I was like 14. I had probably written over 400 plus just when I was in high school. So there's no way I could just commit to learning. I mean, there is a way, but I don't think I had committed over the years just to learning just one poem. But kudos to every author and every poet. I tip my hat to them, because I go to the spoken mics and I snap my fingers, with everybody else, because I think that that's powerful. And I know that it's like an amazing gift to be able to have, to just, let it come off the dome and you speak it with the same passion. But what I tell them, when I get up to articulate the poem, I can feel it and speak it the same way that God put it in my heart, and that I want the readers to be able to hear it. So if I ever, read a poem out loud, because I used to do the spoken word poetry lines, and I would get on there and I would do the poetry. And so, a lot of people got to know LaDonna Marie and how I articulate my poems from just being able to, speak them. So I want everybody always to keep God first and let Him be the center of your gift, and let Him be the center of what you're doing. I want to just talk about going back to my boys, since it's a Family Matters, taking them, with me on different shows and things. And so I would always take them with me, when they were, not so much when they were babies, but they were at my first book signing ever. They were there. But some of the ones when they got a little bit older, I remember taking them to Georgia with me. I went to Hats and Things, this bookstore in Georgia, and I drove up. I lived in Georgia at the time, and I drove up, and I had them dressed in their little ties and their shirts, and they had their jeans on and their tennis shoes, and they were cool for kids. But I took them with me, and I set up my table, and I took them to the small, intimate type of book signings. I did a reading there. I engaged with the readers, and they were my helpers. I always, let them know that they are my helpers, and that, I love and, honor them and humbled that they are my children, and that God chose them for me. And so I would take them, and, people would always love them and, love to kind of, pour into them and, tell them to, make sure you keep your mom, have your mom's back, just pouring in nice stuff with them. And even when I think I traveled, I did the NAACP in 2000 and I want to say it was 18, and we drove to San Antonio, Texas. I took my assistant Jade, and my boys went with me, and it was an amazing experience. Even though I was for the Authors Pavilion, I got a chance to showcase my books. I got a chance to do some interviews there. I love working with, it was about 100 authors that were there. I was selected in the top, 100, and to be there. And so I met a lot of people. We, changed stories, but my boys were there as well. And so they had things to do. They became their own little highlight of the whole show, because they were over by the fire truck, and they started taking pictures, and I found out that they were on the front page of the newspaper, or they were in the paper. They were in the paper in San Antonio, because they had they had decided to feature them in the fire truck being at the NAACP Writers Pavilion and just being there. So they got a chance to just be in on some of the action and make it their own. They took pictures with the NAACP little award, and it was cool. And they had their glasses, and they went to the different tables and took pictures and stuff. And so it was great. I want to say too, I remember taking them to me. I think I went to Louisiana, and I did this book festival kind of pop up with one of my friends who's an author, Demetrius. And I took my boys with me, and my oldest boys, I love blazers, and so does my oldest son. And so I remember he got dressed, and we got dressed, and we decided to go. He got my dolly, and he pushed it in with his little brother sitting on the dolly. But he pushed it in, and when I was talking to people who were walking up before, as we were setting up the table, by the time I had turned around, my son had completely set my table up, and my mouth was just like, wow, because I didn't ask him. I didn't say do this or do that. He took the initiative, and he did it, and he set it up a little bit better than his mom. And a thing about that is because he had watched me. He'd watched me go to places and set my tables up and put it out the way that I want to, and line my books up, and, and organize and set the cards out. And so when I saw that, it was an amazing, because that's kind of like, how we always say, do what I say, not as I do, but he was actually doing as I did, because he had watched me. And so that's the beauty of knowing that your children are watching you. And even I had taken my younger son with me to a resiliency showcase earlier of this year in February. And it was kind of like the same thing. I was off talking to, visiting the tables, talking to people. And he had his music in his ears, and he was moving and shaking, and he was having a good time. And he had set up my table, and he was moving the books. They were straight, and he wanted them to be, spread it out. And so it was just amazing to me as a mom to see them, do things for me. And I didn't even have to ask them, because they knew the caliber of how I always did them and how I set them up. And they gave it their own little twist. And then they had a positive attitude to be there. And so it's kind of like, even if they don't become authors, even if they don't, they know what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to trust God to follow your dreams, what it takes to put your all into something and continue to move forward. We're going to take one more break, and I'm going to be back with you in just a moment. Thank you so much for coming back to the show. So tonight has been an amazing show. At the top of the show, I had Landon and Lathan coming in to talk to you. It was good to hear their voices on the podcast. And so what I had asked them initially, I told them that they're going to be a part of my show, and they were like, Mom, is it going to be TV? And I said, not yet, but we're working our way up. And so just to have them see that, there are other ways to get out there, and which they know, because they are very technology savvy, and they probably can work a lot of these devices better than I can. But it was an honor today to be able to have my kids on the show, to be able to just, talk about family matters, because family does matter. And so I just really wanted to come back and express and kind of, recap some of the things that we talked about. They got to share their ideas at the beginning of the show of how they felt, even seeing their names in the front of the books, was encouraging, because most of the time when we would go out, they would tell people about the books before I would. They would walk up and give someone a card. They'll tell them about Larry the Alligator, because I wrote that for my, with inspiration from my younger son when he was about 3 years old. They know the titles of the books. And so it's awesome when they have that shared experience. We talked a little bit about legacy, the legacy of empowering other people, impacting other people with your life, with your words, and through the way that I'm doing it with the books that I'll pass down, with the legacy of being an author, an international, world-renowned author. And so I'm so excited that they get a chance to see me working in it, and they get a chance as being their mom. I'm, happy to have them come alongside me and be encouraged on the journey, and that we all take this journey together, because it's just not me, it's them, and it's also their time. And so family matters, because I make sure that I, have schedules and write down my bullet points, and try to keep myself on a balanced lifestyle, because we still have to have time for our family, to have fun, and also finish our dreams and commit to our dreams. And so that's what I wanted to do, to make sure that I just took a moment out of my life. I've been an author. I've been writing since the age of 14, published my first poem in a book, Whispers of a League of American Poets, in 2007, again in 2009. But my freshman book of my own, started in 2010. And I had, Landon was old, Lathan was a baby. And so this journey, now I'm like 11 books in on my own, self-published, and I have countless books, 13 plus, that I've co-authored with other people. And so this is a journey that, as long as the Lord continues to give me books, LaDonna Marie, and my children also will be on this journey, and I will continue to take them with me. I will continue to pour into them and continue to highlight their dreams, because being that I was one that was younger, and I started out, kind of later, and knew what I wanted to do, just didn't have the capacity to do it, because nobody was thinking about being a writer at 14, or no, I didn't fathom that I could actually do that at that age, because I didn't have the resources. But now as a mom, I'm paying attention to them, and I see what they like, and I begin to, engage in the things that they like. And so asking God to highlight areas of their life that they like, so that they can know the reason and the purpose that they were born, and how they will make a difference in this world. And so we keep God first, so that he can help us to understand our purpose and to understand what we were created to do. And so I want them to see, as a entrepreneur, as a mompreneur, as a kingdom builder, even as an evangelist, helping people to, heal from their traumas, helping people to be empowered and encouraged through my writing of my books, that they see the legacy that I've been leaving, and taking them with me. They've gone with me some places, and they will continue to go many, many more places as I continue to travel, and as God continues to take me, many, many, many more places. And so today's show has been amazing. I hope that all of the listeners out there, I thank you for coming to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie. This week and the following week, I had my family on, and I wanted to make it, as personal as possible, because we live in real life, and these are real life things that happen, because I know there are a lot of moms out there, and I know there's a lot of parents or dads who are entrepreneurs, and they have a family, and some of us have 9 to 5s or 8 to 5s, and you're working to do this. And so just continue to put God first, and continue to follow your dreams, because when I first started, I was married at the time. I was a full-time student. I was going to school. I had a baby, and I had a toddler, and I was doing an internship, and I became a writer. And so all things are possible with God. But that schedule, that balance, and I was doing interviews. I've been doing interviews for a very long time. So I had to always, set my pace, make sure that I balanced myself, put God first, make sure my family knew that they were most important in my life, and then chase after my dreams and empower and impact people all over the world. Well, this has been LaDonna Marie, and so I'm so thankful that you were able to join me. Check out the show every Monday on Anchor and invite your friends. Come back, follow us on all of the platforms, and come back and support. Leave a message on the show. You want to leave a message? Maybe it'll, I'll add it into one of the programs. So this is LaDonna Marie. Have a great and amazing night. Blessings. This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.